Imagine this for a moment. You're sitting at someone else's Thanksgiving table. Maybe it's a friend's house. Maybe your partner's family. The room is loud. People are laughing, arguing over something small, passing plates of food around the table. And while everyone else seems comfortable, you're quietly watching it all. Not because you don't belong there, but because something inside you keeps reminding you, you don't have this anymore. It's not like you weren't invited to your own family gathering. You probably were. But this time, you chose not to go. And somewhere between the small talk and the awkward smiles, someone eventually asks the question people always ask. So, where's your family? You smile politely. And you give a vague answer, because the real answer is complicated, emotional, and far too heavy for a casual conversation. Most people don't actually want the real story. They just want a simple answer so the moment can move on. But inside your mind, the truth is still there. The weight of a decision that many people will never fully understand. A decision that society often judges without ever hearing the full story. What many people misunderstand is this. The people who cut off their families are rarely the ones who gave up easily. In fact, they're often the ones who tried the longest. They tried to fix things. They tried to understand. They tried to keep the connection alive, long after it started hurting them. Family estrangement is a word that sounds cold and clinical, but the reality behind it is deeply emotional. It's the birthdays that quietly pass without a message. It's walking through a grocery store, seeing someone who looks like your mother, and feeling your chest tighten for a moment before realizing it's a stranger. It's explaining to your children why they don't see certain grandparents. It's defending a decision you've already questioned 1,000 times in your own head to someone who barely knows you. Because in our culture, family is treated as something sacred, something that should never be broken. We grow up hearing phrases like, blood is thicker than water. Entire cultures are built around the idea that family love is unconditional. So when someone steps away from their family, the immediate assumption is simple. They must be selfish, ungrateful, cold. But what if the story is the opposite? What if the person walking away spent years trying to make things work? Imagine someone who spent their entire 20s driving hours every holiday just to sit at a table where they felt invisible. Not necessarily unloved, but unseen. Every conversation slowly turning into criticism, questions about why they haven't achieved more, why they haven't become the person others expected them to be. And yet they kept showing up, year after year. Because hope is a difficult thing to let go of, especially when it's directed toward the people who raised you. Then, one year, they simply stop going, and the world doesn't collapse, but something inside them still feels like it ended. Not relief at first. Grief, the quiet realization that the family relationship they hoped for may never exist. Research from Cornell University shows something surprising about family estrangement. In most cases, it isn't caused by one dramatic moment. It's usually the result of years of small disappointments, unresolved conversations, and emotional distance slowly building over time. Apologies that never came. The same behavior repeating again and again, until eventually the emotional cost of staying becomes greater than the pain of leaving. And choosing to leave isn't giving up. Often it's the result of someone who thought about it deeply for years and finally decided to protect their own peace. Even then, the grief doesn't disappear. People who distance themselves from family often mourn something deeper than the relationship itself. They mourn the relationship they wished they had, the parent they needed, but never received. But something unexpected happens too. After the distance, many people describe a strange feeling. Quiet. For the first time in years, the emotional noise finally stops and they can hear their own thoughts again. That feeling isn't indifference, it's relief. The kind of relief that comes when you finally put down something heavy you didn't even realize you'd been carrying for years. Because the truth is, relationships don't always end with explosions. Sometimes they fade slowly, through something psychologists call emotional invalidation, the quiet message that who you are is never quite enough. Over time, that message changes how people see themselves. It teaches them that their needs are a burden, that asking for love might somehow be wrong. So when someone eventually walks away from a family relationship, it's rarely because they stopped caring. More often, it's because they cared for too long without ever feeling seen. And sometimes the hardest truth is this: leaving a painful relationship isn't choosing happiness over pain. It's choosing one kind of pain over another. But sometimes it's the only choice that allows a person to finally move forward. If any part of this story felt familiar to you, you're not alone. Not even close.